I'm Jennifer Higdon, and this is Living Women Composers. Libby Larsen's Four on the Floor is probably her most famous work. It's for violin, cello, double bass, and piano. And Libby has spoken frequently about being affected by boogie-woogie music and American jazz. It's basically, this piece is a celebration of American musicians and American music, and it runs at a very fast tempo to represent the breakneck speed of American life.
The first text that I chose was from the 19th Psalm, and in Hebrew it's Hashemayim Masaparim Kavod Kel. The heavens declare the glory of God. So I'm thinking of these words and I'm saying them over and over in my mind. Hashemayim Masaparim Kavod Kel. And a tune pops into my head. Hashemayim Masaparim Kavod Kel. And at the very same time as that tune pops into my head, I get 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. I think, what's this?
I spend a lot of time alone, practicing and working on things and thinking. And naturally, I think I have a very dark side, or I'm more introverted. And I've over the years I've tried to work on it. But also being in New York, you see people all the time, but it's very isolating because you see so many people, but you don't know any of them. And in some ways, I feel like I'm more comfortable alone than around people. And being alone, a lot of times I get to work things out a lot or think through a lot of things. I'm not sure if I actually ever, figure out solutions, but at least I have a lot of times turning different sides of the coin and pondering it.
Thank you very much. Wow. Hi. So that was a piece by Nico Muhly, a composer who writes music like that, for example. And we went to college together, so we have sort of a long history of kind of working back and forth. And at a certain point in college, I started complaining about how unidiomatic his string writing was. And his response to that was, well, why don't you just figure out how to play it? So he started writing these etudes, and that was the fourth etude he's ever written, which is confusingly called Etude 3. And there's going to be more of them to come.
Many artists or composers hated their past. They hated their parents or the country they grew up in or the time they grew up in, or they got all these, negative feelings about their past. For me, it's the opposite. I remember the past. I liked my parents. I liked the town I grew up in. I loved going to high school, and I have great memories of, playing piano and playing basketball and having a rock band. And there's a certain optimism, and sense of community and Americana, which does come through the music. Of course, there needs to be a counter side. It can't be major all the time. So there is conflict in my music as well. But there's also a sense of, the great experiences I had growing up in Iowa are something that you do hear in my music, and a sort of optimism, a zest for life and imagination and, energy. And I think that comes through in the music.
I'm Doyle Armbrust. I'm violist for Spektral Quartet. I think Gentlemen might be pushing it.
Yeah.
We're four dudes in Chicago that decided that we would hang out kind of on a weekly basis and buy some craft beer and bring a stack of string quartets along and just read them down. And before too long, we were kind of having so much fun with it and fulfilled by it that we decided to start chasing it down as something that we might like to do more formally.
Wake the up!
We're spending the next hour with Jennifer Higdon, and not just her music, but with Jennifer herself, as she's agreed to co-host the program today. Hey there, Jennifer.
Hi, Brad.
The episode is called Close Up with Jennifer Higdon, and it's actually the first of two programs that have that title. And Jennifer, you've been involved from the very beginning with this radio series, and we've spent a lot of time with your music. You're also an alumna of Bowling Green State University. Can you give us a little bit of your history with BGSU?
Yes, it was actually where I did my undergraduate studies at the College of Musical Arts. I came in as a flute performance major. I studied with Judith Bentley, but I was able to absorb all that Bowling Green had to offer. And one of the big things for me probably was the New Music Festival, which really made an impression on me because it was such a wide variety of composers, musical languages, and performers as well. So it was a great combination of feeling safe, learning in Bowling Green, studying, playing in the ensembles, but also having the outside world come in and experiencing the biggest array of music, new music that I could possibly imagine. So in many ways, Bowling Green kind of opened my musical imagination.
Tell us where we are right now and describe it for us a little bit.
Well, right now we are in Fairview Cemetery, which is actually it's in the oldest part of Ann Arbor, one of the first settled. And it's right across the street from my house. So it's a frequent visit for me. And it's laid out like a mandala. It's in a circle. And the oldest stones are on a bluff overlooking the Huron River. And there are people buried here that were alive during Mozart's time.
So this ensemble we started in the spring of 2006, and from that very first concert we had a commissioned work from a colleague of mine here at Grand Valley, Kurt Ellenberger. He was commission number 1, and ever since we're past 60 now commissions that we've done in about 11 years. I'm a composer myself, and I know how valuable that can be when you come across organizations that are advocates for new works, and I've just felt really kind of a responsibility to help bring new pieces to audiences and to support composers that way. There's also a lot my students can learn as ensemble members from preparing a new piece, from commissioning someone and giving first performances. My name is Bill Ryan. I'm the director of the Grand Valley State University New Music Ensemble. I started working here in 2005 and formed this group very soon after, and we've been going strong ever since.
4, 5.
Composer, conductor, and producer Bill Ryan, the originator and driving force behind the New Music Ensemble at Grand Valley State University in Western Michigan. That GVSU ensemble is consistently rated as one of the country's best, with over 60 commissions and 4 critically acclaimed albums to their credit. They've also premiered upwards of 200 student works over the past decade, providing an invaluable resource for the next generation of composers. Welcome to New Music from Bowling Green, a program devoted to living American composers and their works. I'm your host, Brad Cresswell. That's a sample of the ensemble's discography right there in the background, a piece called Counting in C, which they commissioned from Jad Abumrad. You might know him better as the host of Radiolab. In 2017, the GVSU New Music Ensemble traveled to Bowling Green State University to appear as headliners for the final concert of the annual New Music Gathering. That's a 3-day conference event which brings together performers, composers, administrators, musicologists, and even fans for a wall-to-wall series of concerts, panel discussions, demonstrations, and, as you can imagine, plenty of networking. Over the next hour, we'll listen to that concert from Bowling Green, which featured several works, all of them commissioned by the GVSU New Music Ensemble, including Counting in C by Jad Abumrad.
Do you remember how to count?